So let's see, system updates are available. Good for you. Click here to see updates. Well, actually, I don't want that right now. I want you to do my install. So let's select United States, English, default, clean install. Yes, please. The KMU hard drive. And we'll put in a name. All right. Yes, I'm really serious about that password, and I will type it correctly twice. Encryption password is the same as account password. I don't actually want encryption. This is a virtual machine. It's basically a lab machine, so I don't need encryption on this. But I recommend that if you're serious about doing an install, especially if it's on a laptop, but also on the desktop, I would highly recommend that you encrypt your OS installation. Don't encrypt. All right. So there's going to go and install itself. So this is Pop! OS. The objective of this exercise is just to simply walk through this, especially to show it to you, especially if you are, maybe not an IT major, but you major more in, I don't know, cooking, business, scuba diving, whatever, and you happen to need a computer, or you're even a digital nomad and you've never played with Linux before. Well, here's a little preview into how difficult, or rather how easy it is, to install Linux, in this case Pop! OS, and get going with it. As you could see, for the most part, it is all graphical. I had some difficulty on my end because these virtual machine hosts, these hypervisors, were not playing along. So that was my only challenge here, but I finally got it running. And so when you stick in your USB flash drive and boot up your computer, tell your BIOS to actually start the system from USB, you're going to see all these screens, and for you it should be pretty fluid. Okay, I chose the difficulties here, so you don't have to. Restart device. Let's see if it will know what to do with itself and do it right. Even though it said restart, it doesn't look to me like it got the memo in terms of actually restarting, or did it? Okay, there it is. And we're in. Pretty basic. Then it gives you a welcome. It's asking whether you want, you see this dock here at the bottom, whether you want a dock. I actually like it looking like this. That way you have quick access to your most frequently used applications. It's kind of silly that it's bugging me about updates when it hasn't even finished the welcome screen or the initial installer. It was already asking for available updates. Yeah, you kind of do one thing after another, not try to bombard the system with everything all at once. Show workspace buttons. That would be these up here, I think. Well, let's find out. There we go. Workspace button, yep, and application button. So you notice how these buttons disappeared. You can play around with this on your own to see if this is useful. Here, the time and date position is right here in the center. You can tell it left or right. I'm going to move on here. Let's see, why is there text in there? Open and switch applications from the launcher. Press the super key, which on some keyboards, unfortunately, is the Windows key. Some keyboards will have a penguin on it, or it'll say super, or some such thing. So you hit that key and then a little search box like this will come up and you can actually search for an application to quickly get to it and run it. That's all this does. Next, gestures. Well, gestures are kind of irrelevant because it's a desktop computer, and even worse, it's a virtual machine. So that's not going to be helpful here. If you want to have a light theme, if you like have bright lights in your face, you're going to pick this one. I like dark, so we're going to go with that. Privacy, location services. So location services can have an impact on, I think, don't quote me on this, but they could be relaying information about your location to the web browser, also to internal services, like automatically detecting what time zone you're in and automatically setting your time and date that way. For the purpose of the example, I'm just going to turn it on. Let's see, it allows applications to determine your geolocation. An indication is shown when location services are on. I don't see the indication here. So I don't know what they're talking about, where the indication will be, but you can easily get to this later in the configuration menu and turn it off. Next victim. I am going to subscribe to Jamaica, because they're the only Looney Tunes who are not using daylight savings time. And I prefer getting up when the sun is coming up, not because of some arbitrary clock buzzing me out of bed. Enough said. Next. Connect online accounts. Yeah, you can, for convenience sake, put your Google credentials in here, for example, or Microsoft or something else. I prefer setting up specific apps that have my credentials that then go out and get my email. I don't need the operating system to have them stored. Whether it's stored securely or not is another question. So I actually don't use these, but you can. If you're more convenience oriented, you can go and click on Google and then you can put your authentication in here, and it will keep your credentials on the system. And maybe then when you browse to a Google related page, it'll automatically know who you are. I haven't tested this, so you may want to play with this. I won't use this. Skip, all done. Start using the OS. So, aside from all of my talking, this probably would have taken you less than 10 minutes to install, provided you didn't have to figure out which key to press to get into your BIOS to tell it to boot from the USB stick at least once. So here you're at the desktop. I'm going to go through here and let it update itself. Unless that was just a notification, or if the system is just acting a little bit slow. No, there it is. It automatically brought up the, the pop shop. Incidentally, I'm running pop on my desktop computer as well, but oftentimes I just forget about the nomenclature because I don't do a lot of talking about what I do, at least not to anybody around here. So the verbiage to me doesn't matter. I may not remember street names, but I know the directions of how to get places. That's kind of how my mind works. So the pop shop. All right. So it was giving you a notification that updates are available. I clicked on the notification window. It automatically loaded this pop shop. Now it's showing you right here that there are all these softer components that can use an update, a refresh. So I'm just going to hit update, and I'm going to put you on ice until this thing updates itself, and we'll look at what's next, okay? To this day, I hardly ever know still if this damn thing is done playing with itself, because I don't see a notification on my screen that it's actually done. So I guess maybe there was a little progress here someplace, but I don't know. I guess they could make it a little bit more obvious. So as we're here, now you have a fully updated and patched system. That's a really, really good start. Normally I go into the system, let's minimize this. Normally I go into the system and configure it in terms of going through some of these settings, like, set up your networking, whether you want to set up IP6, IP4, fine tune some of these settings so that they reflect your network environment. You're probably going to be wireless. This icon right here indicates that I'm using wired networking, obviously. So you may want to customize this. If we need, of course, I've got another video coming up on things like this when questions pop up. But anyway, go through here, Bluetooth. If you don't have it, turn it off. Desktop, you can play with a lot of these settings and see what they do. Sometimes their effects are immediate, so you can see what it does right off the bat. I have another video where I'm explaining what all these menu items do actually. I will link to it at some point later in this video so you can find it easily. Again, I just wanted to give you a very quick and dirty run through to show you how to get Pop! OS installed, give you a concept of how easy it is, because it's pretty graphical, which makes it intuitive and straightforward for most of us. But if this is the route that you want to go in the future, you want to install this, it still doesn't feel quite right, and you still have questions before you push the button on something like this. And now it looks like it may have actually locked up. That's beautiful. Let's see if I can kill this. No. Killing not allowed. Printers. All right, well, that's not a good example. Very likely this is happening because I'm running in a virtual machine, and it may be, it shouldn't be running out of resources. So let's go back in here. So keyboard, maybe it couldn't figure out what keyboard it has. So for printers, you've got all these menu items where you can fine tune, for example, your resolution. If you've got a pretty big screen, you can fine tune whether you are going to set your system up for video editing or graphics work. Then you probably want to go in the highest resolution possible, and then scale the fonts appropriately so things aren't squinty small. Mouse and touchpad, keyboard, printers, removable media. A lot of these things are kind of straightforward and self-explanatory. So pretty easy. The point here is that you want to go in after an install, fine-tune the system, set it up the way you like, set it up the way that you think you want to use it, look and feel, and security and such things. Incidentally, there is actually no firewall configuration here, so you would still need to install a firewall separately and get that set up to secure your system if that's important to you. So I'm going to get out of here. And under applications, you're going to see that you've got an email program, you've got the Pop Shop, this is where you get new software. Here you've got Firefox, which is one of several web browsers out there. You have Office software already installed for you. Here we go with LibreOffice Writer once again. And it's pretty graphical. I mean, if you come from either a Windows or a Mac background, you should be able to dive in here pretty quickly. And, bold, underline, pick a font, start typing paragraphs. Setting things up is pretty simple. It may look a little bit different, and some menu items may be called something different or located in a different place, but just poke around, get yourself familiar, use it a few times, and you'll become proficient enough to use it for what you need. And give yourself time and you'll learn more, okay? So don't rush it, don't get frustrated. But I think these kind of OSs, these Unix-like operating systems, be it BSD or Pop! OS or Fedora, I think they're great options for desktop and laptop computers, whether you're a digital nomad or working for a security agency or working for Jacques Cousteau out in the high seas, or you're working in an office someplace, you're an entrepreneur. There are so many tools available, so many software packages, even for scientific research. There's even software here for dental offices. There is computer-aided drafting and design. If you're a developer, programmer, there are tools for that. There's really hardly a reason for why people would not want to jump ship into this. And most importantly, you don't have to upgrade when some corporation dictates it, right? When I used to have a MacBook Pro running, about 5 years later, all of a sudden, I couldn't update macOS because the claim was that my hardware is out of date. How dumb is that? Why would you create an operating system that is not backward compatible for something that I spent $2,000 or $3,000 for? Do you want me as a customer or not? So anyway, with Linux, I've got a laptop that is a little ThinkPad X220. It is still running all the new versions of Linux. It's 10 years old, and it still runs everything that is contemporary as far as the Linux ecosystem is concerned. Even FreeBSD I can run on it with some, but that's for people who want to do more tweaking. So is Arch Linux. So I've probably talked you into a frenzy. Again, I gave you a preview of how to get started. And now it's just really up to you to tweak the operating system, to tweak the environment to your liking, change the background, make this toolbar maybe down here disappear when you're not using it. Or you just move the mouse to the very bottom and it'll reappear. You set up a backup routine for this thing. You set up a printer for this thing. You set up your networking and put in your wireless network for various different places if you travel with the computer. Install the apps that you need and get them configured to how you like. And boom, done, So I'm going to leave you at that. I'm sure there are going to be questions for people who are sincerely interested in looking into this as an option. So I am open to questions. And from here, you know what to do. Cheers.